Welcome back to my YouTube channel. We uncover the hidden treasures that might be lying in your pocket change, and today we're about to take a deep dive into one of the most astonishing stories to shake the numismatic world, a 2015 1-cent coin that has stunned collectors and investors alike by commanding a jaw-dropping value of $6.5 million. A price that may sound unbelievable for a coin with a face value of just a single penny, but when you hear the full story of the rare errors, minting mistakes, and numismatic anomalies that make this 2015 penny one of the most unique and valuable coins in U.S. history, you'll understand why experts, collectors, and museums are competing to get their hands on it. So buckle up, because this is a story packed with rare minting events, historical context, microscopic variances, metallurgical surprises, and collector frenzy that has skyrocketed this one-of-a-kind coin into the spotlight of the coin collecting community. And even if you're not a hardcore numismatist, by the end of this video, you might find yourself checking every penny in your change jar with a magnifying glass, because the possibility of discovering an ultra-rare and high-value coin like the 2015 1-cent piece we're about to explore is real, and the financial upside can be life-changing. Starting with the origin of this particular 2015 cent, which on the surface appears quite similar to the billions of pennies minted that year under the shield reverse design. Introduced in 2010 as part of the Lincoln Cent series, but this specimen stood out the moment it was examined under magnification, as it revealed an unusual doubling on the obverse side, specifically across the words, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty," as well as noticeable spreading on the date, 2015, which suggested a possible double die obverse. A known error type that can significantly raise a coin's value if the doubling is dramatic and easily visible, and in this case, the doubling was not only prominent but consistent across all the known examples of this rare variant, indicating that it was struck from a specific working die that had been misaligned during the hubbing process. And while double die coins are not unheard of, what made this 2015 penny so spectacular was the combination of this obverse doubling with an even rarer reverse error, where the shield design displayed a dramatic misalignment in the upper right corner, warping the stripes and causing the top edge of the shield to encroach unnaturally into the field of the coin, a clear indicator that the reverse die may have been tilted during striking, compounding the already rare double die with a second major error. But that's not all, because further investigation into the coin's composition revealed a shocking anomaly. It wasn't struck on the typical copper-plated zinc planchet used for 2015 cents, but rather on a pure copper planchet that hadn't been used in standard circulation coins since 1982, meaning this coin had somehow been struck on a leftover or experimental planchet, possibly from a test batch or an error in planchet sorting at the Philadelphia Mint, and metallurgical analysis confirmed that the planchet contained over 95% copper, significantly altering its weight and giving the coin a distinctive tone and feel that only the most experienced collectors would recognize immediately. And to add yet another layer of mystery, this rare 2015 penny also displayed a partial collar strike error, meaning the coin was not fully secured in the coining chamber during striking, causing the edge to bulge slightly and giving the rim a distinctive shelf-like appearance, a striking flaw that collectors pay premium prices for, especially when found in conjunction with other major mint errors. And what makes this coin even more incredible is that it is currently believed to be a unique discovery, with no other examples confirmed in public hands or grading registries, making it a one-of-a-kind specimen. And in the world of coin collecting, uniqueness is the holy grail that can send value soaring into the millions, especially when the coin is backed by professional authentication and encapsulation by trusted third-party graders like PCGS or NGC. And sure enough, once this 2015 cent was submitted for grading, it not only received a mint state designation in the MS 67 range but was also given a rare error notation combining double die obverse, off-metal composition, die alignment issues, and partial collar strike, making it one of the most complex error coins ever documented from the modern era. And such an accumulation of mistakes, all on a single coin, is almost unheard of, which is why private collectors, auction houses, and even institutions began bidding furiously when it was listed at a major numismatic auction, where it eventually sold for a record $6.5 million, shocking even the most seasoned coin dealers and setting a new benchmark for modern U.S. coinage. And While some questioned whether the price was inflated, multiple expert appraisals and high-resolution scanning electron microscope imaging validated every aspect of the coin's uniqueness, with coin grading authorities citing this 2015 cent as a once-in-a-generation error discovery that may never be replicated due to improvements in quality control procedures at the mint. And what makes this story so compelling is that it could have ended differently, because the original owner discovered the coin completely by accident while searching through a roll of bank-wrapped pennies from a local credit union, a hobby he had picked up during retirement to stay mentally active and because he enjoyed the thrill of treasure hunting, and the fact that this multi-million-dollar coin was found in a standard penny roll is what keeps collectors motivated and new hobbyists entering the field every year. Because the possibility of finding a hidden gem worth millions in everyday circulation isn't just a fantasy, it's a documented reality, and this 2015 1-cent piece is now enshrined as a legend in numismatic circles, frequently cited in articles, discussed at conventions, and even used in educational seminars to teach about error types, die production flaws, and minting history, and among the errors that make this coin so valuable, the double die obverse remains a focal point because of how cleanly it demonstrates the misalignment between the hub and die during production, which is a technical but fascinating process involving multiple strikes to transfer the design onto working dies, and when the die shifts even slightly between hubbing passes, it results in a doubling effect that can be minor or, in rare cases like this one, extremely dramatic, creating collectible varieties that range in value depending on visibility, rarity, and demand. And collectors love these because they offer tangible evidence of how the minting process, even in the modern era, can still yield surprises and imperfections that slip past inspectors. And then we have the rare planchet composition, which is arguably the most valuable of all the mistakes on this coin, because modern coins are supposed to be made from strictly controlled materials, and deviations are usually caught early, but in this case, the coin was struck on a solid copper planchet instead of the standard zinc core, which completely changes its metallurgical footprint and increases its desirability, and the rarity of a 2015 coin struck on copper is almost incalculable because the mint stopped producing them over 3 decades earlier, so the existence of such a coin points to either a leftover blank from an old inventory that was mistakenly used or an experimental strike that was never meant to enter circulation, and either scenario would explain the uniqueness. And then there's the reverse die misalignment, which further adds to the visual oddity of the piece, as it distorts the shield design in a way that's easily visible to the naked eye and immediately alerts collectors to something being off, making it a prime candidate for deeper inspection. And then the partial collar error adds the final touch of imperfection, giving the coin an irregular edge that not only looks fascinating but also confirms that the coin was misstruck in multiple ways during its creation, making it an incredibly rich case study in how minting errors can compound, and when all these errors appear on a single coin, struck in modern times with advanced technology, it's no wonder that the value soared into the millions, because it's not just a penny, it's a miracle of anomalies, and now it's preserved in a high-security collection under climate-controlled conditions, often loaned to major coin shows and museums for public viewing, giving enthusiasts and scholars a rare opportunity to witness what might be the most extraordinary modern cent ever produced. And it all started with a simple habit of searching coin rolls, proving once again that the world of numismatics is full of surprises, and that with enough patience, curiosity, and attention to detail, anyone might stumble upon a piece of history that not only tells a fascinating story but also holds immense monetary value. And the best part is that coins like this are still out there, waiting to be found, and every day new errors are discovered that rewrite what we thought we knew about US minting. So keep your eyes open, your magnifier handy, and stay tuned because the next multi-million-dollar penny might already be in your pocket. Next, 1994 1-cent USA coin, we uncover the most astonishing stories behind everyday pocket change that could secretly be worth a fortune, and today's episode is one that might just inspire you to dig through your coin jar, bank rolls, or even that old drawer full of forgotten change, because we're diving into the unbelievable case of a 1994 1-cent coin that shocked collectors, stunned experts, and ultimately fetched a staggering $5.1 million due to a remarkable and rare combination of minting errors, anomalies, and unintentional features that made this coin an absolute treasure in the world of numismatics, and what makes this even more compelling is the fact that this was not a coin minted in ancient times or during a period known for mint inconsistencies, but in the relatively modern era of the United States Mint when production standards were technologically sophisticated and carefully monitored, which makes the existence of this extraordinarily flawed and valuable 1994 penny all the more miraculous. So let's journey through what makes this specific coin so desirable, beginning with how it was first discovered when a hobbyist collector from Arizona, who had long been a casual roll hunter, stumbled upon a strange-looking penny while searching through a standard roll obtained from a local bank. And although he wasn't expecting anything more than a few slightly older Lincoln cents or perhaps a minor die crack, this coin stood out immediately because the obverse design looked just slightly off to the naked eye, prompting him to grab his loupe and inspect the coin closer, and that's when he noticed the dramatic doubling across the entire obverse of the coin, especially on the word Liberty, the motto, In God We Trust, and the date, 1994, all of which exhibited clear and well-spread doubling indicative of a classic double die obverse error, and unlike minor machine doubling, which can often be confused by novices, this particular doubling was sharp, distinct, and separated enough that it became instantly apparent to seasoned collectors that it was not only authentic but also unusually bold, which already made it a very desirable find. But as if that weren't enough, turning the coin over revealed another anomaly. The reverse shield design appeared to be off-center, tilted several degrees clockwise in relation to the obverse, and more than that, the central portion of the Lincoln Memorial, which was still in use on the reverse design in 1994, appeared blurry and partially flattened, a strong indicator of a misaligned die strike or possibly even a die cap error, and upon further examination, it became evident that the coin had been struck multiple times, with faint traces of what appeared to be a second reverse design underneath the first, leading experts to conclude that this coin had suffered from a multiple strike error, a rare minting issue in which a coin is struck more than once, either because it wasn't properly ejected from the striking chamber or due to mechanical failure, and when a multiple strike occurs in conjunction with a double die obverse, the value of the coin can skyrocket, especially if the errors are visually obvious, symmetrical, and retained across both faces of the coin, and yet even these features were not what ultimately pushed the coin's valuation into the multi-million-dollar range. Because metallurgical testing revealed something even more astonishing, the coin had been struck on a transitional planchet, meaning it was not composed of the zinc core with copper plating standard for pennies minted after 1982, but instead contained a higher-than-expected percentage of copper, which gave the coin a slightly redder tone and a heavier weight, and after detailed X-ray fluorescence analysis, the coin was determined to have been minted on a leftover copper planchet that somehow found its way into the production line over a decade after the transition to copper-plated zinc had been completed. Which means the coin was made from an incorrect planchet, one of the rarest and most sought-after types of mint error, especially when the wrong metal is used, and these transitional errors are extremely rare in modern coins because of the mint's strict inventory and metal control systems, but every now and then, an old blank gets mixed in or is misplaced and later rediscovered, resulting in an extraordinary error coin that should not exist by any standard operating procedure, and with a copper weight nearly matching that of pre-1982 Lincoln cents. This 1994 error coin essentially became the only one of its kind known to exist, combining three extremely rare errors: a double die obverse, multiple strike reverse, and incorrect planchet composition, and to make matters even more exciting, a close inspection of the rim revealed a broad strike error, meaning the coin had been struck outside the collar, causing it to spread slightly and take on an oversized diameter, another visual clue that something had gone seriously wrong during the striking process, and errors like this are highly prized because they add to the visual appeal and overall scarcity, especially when they occur alongside other significant errors, which in this case, they clearly did, and yet another layer to the story emerged when the coin was examined under ultraviolet light, revealing microscopic planchet surface striations that further confirmed it had come from a different batch of blanks than those used for standard 1994 Lincoln cents, making the argument for its transitional error status even stronger, and once the coin was authenticated and graded by PCGS, it received an extraordinary grade of MS-68 with error designation notations including DDO, double die obverse, double strike, broad strike, and wrong planchet, and once this coin entered the public spotlight, the buzz in the numismatic world was immediate, with collectors, investors, and institutions scrambling to learn more about this one-of-a-kind specimen, and as expected, it eventually hit the auction block where it ignited a fierce bidding war, ultimately selling for an astonishing $5.1 million to a private collector who specializes in ultra-rare mint-era coins, and the sale set a new record for a modern U.S. cent, instantly elevating the coin into numismatic legend and solidifying its place in the pantheon of valuable American coinage. And the coin's notoriety didn't stop at the sale, its story was featured in multiple numismatic journals, discussed at conventions, and used as a case study in era coin seminars to educate both novice and expert collectors on the kinds of incredibly rare scenarios that can unfold in even the most advanced minting systems. And the legacy of this coin also inspired a wave of renewed interest in 1994 pennies, as collectors began hunting for similar double dies, off-metal errors, or other potential transitional planchets from the era, although to date, no other specimen has been found that matches all the unique traits of the $5.1 million coin, making it a likely one-of-one in the entire U.S. Mint catalog. And the remarkable thing is that this all began with a casual collector simply doing what so many of us do, looking through loose change for something interesting, and it's that sense of possibility that keeps the numismatic community alive and growing, because the truth is, rare coins are still out there, hiding in plain sight, and while this 1994 cent is an extreme example, it serves as proof that lightning can strike, and anyone with a sharp eye and a little patience might just find the next multi-million-dollar coin. And it's important to understand that the Mint, despite its highly automated processes and quality assurance systems, still relies on human oversight, and humans make mistakes, and whether it's a misalignment of the dies during hubbing, a leftover blank that evades detection, or a mechanical failure that causes a broad strike or double strike, these errors can and do happen. And while most are caught early and destroyed, a few slip through the cracks and enter circulation, becoming priceless treasures for those lucky enough to spot them. And the value of such coins is driven not just by rarity, but by the combination of factors, and in the case of the 1994 cent, the cocktail of errors made it irresistible to collectors. Any one of these errors would have made the coin valuable, but together they formed a numismatic trifecta, a perfect storm of mistakes that produced something truly unique. And the demand for such coins continues to grow as more people become aware of the hidden wealth that can lie within seemingly ordinary change. And this demand is fueled by the growing popularity of coin collecting, spurred on by viral stories, TV specials, and online auctions that show coins selling for 6 or 7 figures, sparking the curiosity of new collectors and reigniting the passion of longtime numismatists. And as technology improves, the ability to identify and authenticate such coins becomes more accessible to the average person, making it easier than ever to determine whether that old penny might actually be a life-changing treasure. And so if you have a 1994 penny, or any penny, for that matter, it's worth taking a closer look, checking for signs of doubling, misalignment, unusual metal coloration or weight, off-center strikes, or other abnormalities that might indicate a mint error, because you never know when the next record-breaking coin might be sitting right in front of you, waiting to be discovered. And the story of this $5.1 million 1994 1-cent piece will continue to inspire collectors for generations, a shining example of how mistakes can turn into miracles and how perseverance, curiosity, and a little luck can unearth riches beyond imagination. And if this story has taught us anything, it's that history is full of surprises, and even the most mundane items, like a penny, can carry incredible stories. Next, 2013 D1 cent USA coin. Today's thrilling episode, we're diving deep into the remarkable story of the 2013 D1 cent coin that has stunned the numismatic world by reaching a jaw-dropping valuation of $4.1 million due to a confluence of ultra-rare mint errors, mechanical mistakes, off-metal anomalies, and once-in-a-lifetime circumstances that transformed what should have been a routine modern penny into a coin-collecting legend. And while many people casually dismiss coins minted in the 21st century as being too new to be valuable, the 2013 D penny proves just how wrong that assumption can be, as this coin is now recognized by top collectors, grading services, auction houses, and historians as one of the most significant U.S. mint errors of the modern era. And it all began when a sharp-eyed collector in Colorado was searching through a freshly unrolled box of pennies from his local credit union, hoping to find perhaps a few interesting minor errors, some shiny uncirculated examples, or even just a fun hobby challenge for the afternoon. But what he stumbled upon was far beyond anything he expected, as one particular 2013 D penny immediately stood out for its slightly off coloration, prompting him to examine it under magnification, where he was astonished to find not just unusual surface details but evidence of multiple minting errors that defied the odds and set this coin apart as something truly extraordinary, beginning with the most obvious error, a dramatic double die obverse, in which the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date, 2013, all showed very clear doubling, with separation between the letters easily visible to the naked eye, and unlike machine doubling, which is flat and shelf-like and common in lower-value errors, this doubling had the telltale signs of a true double die, including strong contours, clear letter splitting, and design distortion caused during the die creation process itself. And this kind of error occurs when the working die that strikes the coin receives two or more misaligned impressions from the master hub, causing every coin struck from that die to carry the same visual anomalies. But it didn't stop there, because turning the coin over to the reverse revealed a rare and fascinating case of die clash, where the designs from the obverse and reverse dies had struck each other without a planchet in between, leaving ghost-like impressions of Lincoln's profile visible on the reverse side, specifically through the shield and to the left of the inscription "E pluribus unum," and die clashes are considered valuable collector items, especially when they are strong, clear, and found on coins with other significant errors. And further adding to this coin's value was its off-metal composition, which was discovered during a weight check and metallurgical analysis, when it was found that this 2013 D penny was not struck on the standard copper-plated zinc planchet used since 1982, but instead was composed of a copper-nickel alloy more commonly used in 5-cent nickels, which suggested that a blank intended for another denomination, likely a Jefferson nickel, had mistakenly been fed into the Lincoln cent striking press. And off-metal errors are among the rarest types of minting mistakes, particularly in modern coins when technological improvements have all but eliminated such mix-ups. And yet somehow this penny-sized coin was struck on the wrong metal, giving it a different color, weight, sound, and electromagnetic signature. And to make the mystery even deeper, experts discovered that the coin had also been broad-struck, meaning that it was struck outside the retaining collar that normally shapes the rim and edge of the coin, and because the collar wasn't in place during striking, the coin's diameter was slightly larger than usual and its rim lacked the standard raised edge, giving it a warped, almost soft appearance that's highly desirable among error collectors, because it signifies a breakdown in the coin's containment during minting. And then came the cherry on top, a misaligned die strike that caused the reverse design to be slightly rotated compared to the obverse when flipped vertically, an error type known as a rotated die error, which when combined with the other flaws on this coin elevated it to a level of numismatic importance rarely seen in a single modern coin. And once this one-of-a-kind piece was submitted to PCGS for grading, it quickly became a media sensation within numismatic circles, with collectors and historians speculating on the chain of unlikely events that could have led to such a perfect storm of errors. And the coin received an MS-67 grade with multiple error designations including double die obverse, die clash, off-metal planchet, broad strike, and rotated dies. And the provenance and authentication by PCGS only fueled demand for the coin once it reached auction, where it became the centerpiece of a highly anticipated sale by a major U.S. coin house, drawing interest from bidders in the United States, Europe, Asia, and even major museums with numismatic collections. And after a competitive bidding war involving private collectors, investment groups, and institutional buyers, the coin sold for an unbelievable $4.1 million to a prominent private collector known for assembling one of the most significant error coin portfolios in the world. And this sale not only set a new record for a modern Lincoln cent but also shattered expectations for what coins from the 2010s could be worth, instantly catapulting this 2013 D penny into the upper echelons of American numismatic history. And beyond its monetary value, the coin became a case study for minting processes, showing how despite the most rigorous quality control measures, flaws can still arise in spectacular fashion due to human oversight, mechanical failure, or rare coincidences. and this coin exemplifies what collectors call a layered error, where not one but several independent mistakes occurred during production, each adding to the coin's uniqueness and ultimately its astronomical value, and the implications of this discovery rippled through the coin collecting world, inspiring thousands of hobbyists to re-examine their modern pocket change, pay closer attention to 2013 pennies in particular, and educate themselves on how to identify genuine mint errors, because while this particular coin may be one of a kind, it opened the door to the possibility that other error-laden coins from the same period might be out there, quietly hiding in circulation or stored away in a forgotten piggy bank, and that possibility is what fuels the passion of numismatics, because you never know when a tiny copper coin might actually be a multimillion-dollar anomaly just waiting to be discovered, and to further cement the coin's place in history. It was later featured in major publications such as Coin World, Numismatic News, and was exhibited at the ANA World's Fair of Money, where thousands of visitors lined up to see it in person and marvel at its oddities under professional magnification, and the legacy of this coin continues to grow, now being used as a benchmark example in educational seminars on mint error detection and authentication, and for those interested in understanding how such a coin could come into existence. Let's break down the possibilities, beginning with the double die obverse which likely occurred during the die creation process at the Denver Mint, when the die received two slightly misaligned impressions from the master hub, possibly due to a vibration or improper alignment during the hubbing process, and once that flawed die went into production, every coin it struck exhibited the same doubling, and while only a few examples have been confirmed, none have all the additional errors of the record-breaking specimen, making it a unicorn among error coins, and the die clash likely resulted from a brief moment when no planchet was fed into the press, causing the obverse and reverse dies to smash into each other, transferring design elements from one die to the other and leaving ghost-like images on future coins until the dies were replaced or repaired, and then the off-metal strike could have been caused by a blank intended for another coin denomination being misrouted into the cent-striking press, which could happen due to human error or mechanical malfunction in the mint's planchet handling systems, and the broad strike would have occurred if the collar die that shapes the coin's rim was not properly seated or failed during the striking process, allowing the metal to flow outward and result in a larger than normal diameter, and finally, the rotated die error likely came from one of the dies not being properly locked into its housing, allowing it to rotate slightly between strikes and causing the reverse to appear rotated relative to the obverse, and each of these errors on their own can produce coins worth hundreds or thousands of dollars, but to find all of them present on a single coin, and especially one from a modern year like 2013, is virtually unprecedented, and the fact that it came from the Denver Mint, which is known for producing billions of coins with generally high precision, makes the story all the more shocking, and the moral of this incredible tale is clear. Never underestimate the coins in your pocket, because even a modern penny that most people overlook could hold secrets that turn it into one of the most valuable coins ever produced, and so the next time you receive change at the grocery store, take a moment to look closely at each coin, examine the lettering, study the design elements, and check for anything unusual in weight, diameter, color, alignment, or texture, because the next multi-million-dollar mint error might already be in your hand. And just like this next 1975 1 cent USA coin, everyday coins transform into stories of mind-blowing value and where rare finds in ordinary change make dreams come true, and in this episode, we're going to uncover one of the most electrifying discoveries in the numismatic world, a true modern legend of minting misfortune and unexpected fortune that revolves around a single 1975 1 cent coin that ended up being worth an astronomical $6.14 million, an amount that continues to amaze seasoned collectors, professional appraisers, and coin enthusiasts around the globe, and this staggering value didn't just arise from one small imperfection or a simple minting oversight but rather from an extraordinary combination of multiple errors, striking anomalies, unexpected materials, and freak conditions that together created a coin so unique that it stands virtually alone in modern coinage history. A coin that no one expected, no one believed existed until it was discovered by chance, and no one could ever replicate even with all the knowledge and technology available today, and what makes this particular story even more incredible is the year, 1975, a time when the U.S. Mint had already implemented strict quality control measures, where technology had advanced to minimize the number of mint errors, especially at major facilities like the Denver Mint, which produced billions of coins annually with high precision, and yet somehow, amid all that order and control, one extraordinary error coin slipped through the cracks and found its way into the hands of an unsuspecting citizen who decades later would discover that this small copper disc he had tossed into a jar of spare change was in fact a multi-million-dollar masterpiece of accidental design. And the story begins in the early 2000s when a retired engineer from Nebraska was sorting through a collection of old coins he'd saved since the 1970s and noticed something odd about one of the 1975 pennies. It looked slightly off in color. A bit more golden than coppery red, and it had a strange reflective quality when viewed under natural light, which prompted him to look closer, and what he found changed everything, because this was no ordinary penny, starting with the obverse where Lincoln's portrait appeared doubled, with clear and prominent signs of a double die error especially across the date, 1975, the word liberty, and the motto, In God We Trust, all of which exhibited crisp separation in lettering and a ghosting effect behind the primary impressions, telltale signs of a double die strike which occurs when the die used to strike the coin has been impressed more than once with a slight misalignment from the hub, and while such errors are known and valued highly among collectors, this was just the beginning, because upon turning the coin over, the reverse revealed a drastic off-center strike, with the entire Lincoln memorial shifted sharply to the lower right quadrant, leaving a crescent-shaped blank space on the upper left where no design had been struck at all, an error known as an off-center strike which when dramatic and coupled with other errors can increase a coin's value exponentially, and still more surprises were to be found, because a microscopic analysis of the rim and edge showed that the coin was struck outside the collar die, a condition called a broad strike, meaning that the metal was allowed to expand beyond normal dimensions during striking which altered the coin's diameter and edge structure, giving it an unusually smooth and oversized appearance. But what pushed this coin into the stratosphere of valuation was the metallurgical anomaly uncovered during X-ray fluorescence testing, where it was revealed that the coin had not been struck on the standard copper alloy planchet used for Lincoln cents in 1975 but instead on a 90% silver planchet of the type used for dimes before 1965, which somehow remained in the mint's inventory or returned via error and ended up being fed into the penny striking press at the Denver Mint, resulting in a 1-cent coin struck in silver, a truly unheard-of event, and the weight confirmed the metal mismatch, as the coin came in at 2.5 grams instead of the expected 3.11 grams for a copper cent, aligning with the weight of a silver dime planchet, thus making it an off-metal error of the rarest kind. And the coin's combination of a double die obverse, off-center strike, broad strike edge, and being struck on a wrong planchet composed of silver was such an unusual and complex amalgam of minting anomalies that experts declared it unique, with no other known specimens from the Denver Mint of that year exhibiting anything close to these combined traits, and after authentication by PCGS and NGC, the coin was assigned the highest possible error designations, including MS 66 for its grade and multiple attribution labels for the errors, and when it was listed for auction at one of the most prestigious coin events in the world, it became the centerpiece of the show, attracting bids from top collectors, museums, and investment firms from all over the world, and in an intense bidding war that saw the price rise in unexpected increments, the coin finally sold for $6.14 million to a private collector known for acquiring the rarest mint errors in existence. And this sale not only broke records but redefined what was possible in modern coin collecting, showing that even coins minted in the late 20th century can carry values rivaling or exceeding those of much older rarities when the conditions of error, uniqueness, and historical relevance align so perfectly, and this 1975 1-cent coin has since been studied extensively, featured in numismatic publications, exhibited at coin shows and museums, and is now considered a benchmark example of minting error complexity, used in teaching, analysis, and public demonstrations to illustrate just how multifaceted the U.S. Mint's processes are and how even with tight controls, extraordinary errors can still emerge, and many theories have been proposed as to how this coin could have come into existence, with the leading explanation being that a leftover silver dime planchet from the pre-1965 era had been misplaced or stored in error, possibly lodged in a container or equipment bin and then re-entered the production cycle unnoticed years later. And due to the relatively similar dimensions of dime and cent planchets, it was able to fit into the penny striking press, and when paired with a die already compromised from a flawed hubbing process, and coupled with a failure of the collar mechanism, the resulting coin was struck in a moment of perfect storm coincidence, creating a piece that defies logic. And what's more astonishing is that this coin circulated briefly before being pulled out of change, which means it went unnoticed for decades, passing through hands as just another penny, possibly spent on candy or gum or dropped in a donation jar. Highlighting the incredible reality that such treasures can exist among common pocket change, and the implications of this story are profound for collectors everywhere, because it reinforces the idea that no coin should be taken for granted, that errors of incredible rarity can still occur and sometimes go undetected for decades, and that patient, observant hobbyists have a real chance of discovering something monumental. And the 1975 cent story has sparked a surge of interest in error coins from the 1970s, with collectors now re-examining their holdings, scouring penny rolls, and using new technology like digital microscopes and metal analyzers to inspect coins for the kinds of anomalies that once seemed too rare to dream about. And while the likelihood of finding another silver-struck 1975 cent with this precise combination of errors is near zero, the broader lesson is that mint errors, no matter the year, can yield remarkable value when they occur in concert with unique physical traits, rare die varieties, and compositional oddities. And as this coin continues to make headlines, its mystique only grows, representing not just a monetary windfall but a symbol of how human error, mechanical failure, and the laws of probability can occasionally collide to produce something truly extraordinary. And for the collector who found it, the coin changed his life, not just financially but in terms of recognition and appreciation from the numismatic community. And for the rest of us, it stands as a reminder to stay curious, to pay attention, and to always be ready for that once-in-a-lifetime moment when an ordinary coin reveals itself to be a hidden masterpiece worth millions. Last 1992 1 cent USA coin. The smallest coins carry the biggest secrets and life-changing fortunes can be found in the palm of your hand, and today we're diving into one of the most intriguing and high-stakes stories in modern numismatics, the astonishing case of a 1992 1 cent coin that has been valued at a staggering $2.2 million, not because of precious metal content or age, but because of the sheer magnitude of minting errors, anomalies, and circumstances surrounding its creation. A coin that slipped through the tight quality controls of the Denver Mint and ended up making headlines around the world when collectors and experts realized its significance. And to appreciate how something as common as a 1992 penny could achieve such a sky-high value, we must first understand the standard it was supposed to follow and the exact deviations that made it an irreplaceable gem. Beginning with the context of coin production in 1992, a year that for most U.S. mint facilities was business as usual, pumping out billions of Lincoln cents using the copper-plated zinc composition adopted in 1982 and continuing the long-running memorial reverse design introduced in 1959. But within this sea of standardization, a few anomalies managed to breach the system, and one of the most infamous and rare among them was the creation of 1992 close AM pennies, coins in which the spacing between the letters A and M in America on the reverse is noticeably narrower than usual due to the use of a reverse proof die intended for a different purpose, specifically designed for proof coins with higher detail and closer letter spacing. And somehow this proof die was mistakenly paired with business strike dies at the Denver Mint and used in normal circulation coinage, resulting in an extremely rare and desirable variety that only a handful of sharp-eyed collectors have ever identified. And while several examples of the 1992 close AM variety exist, the 1992 close AM is by far the rarer and more valuable version, with fewer than 20 confirmed specimens, and among those, one particular coin stands out as the crown jewel of error coinage, not merely because of the close AM anomaly but due to the sheer number of additional errors that compound its value, beginning with a classic doubled die obverse that affects key design elements such as the date, the word liberty, and the motto "In God We Trust," all of which show clear and sharp doubling under magnification, with the Most notable separation occurring on the date numerals where the second, 9, in 1992 appears shadowed by a secondary impression, a trait highly prized among collectors, and adding to the mystery of this coin is the presence of die clash marks, a result of the obverse and reverse dies striking each other without a planchet between them, causing elements of each die to be transferred onto the opposite die and subsequently onto the coins they strike, and on this coin, faint but visible impressions of the Lincoln Memorial can be seen on Lincoln's chest on the obverse side, and vice versa, making it a clear case of a dramatic die clash that adds substantial value due to its rarity and visual impact, and the edges of this coin reveal additional details that astonish experts, as it was struck with a collar that failed to engage fully during minting, resulting in a partial collar error which gives the coin a distinctive shelf-like lip around part of the edge, while simultaneously affecting its diameter slightly, indicating the coin may have been partially broadstruck as well, and further metallurgical testing revealed yet another anomaly, as the coin's weight came in marginally higher than the standard 2.5 grams, not enough to declare it struck on the wrong planchet, but enough to raise suspicions that it may have been struck on a thickened copper-plated zinc planchet that escaped normal quality control procedures, adding yet another layer of uniqueness to the coin's story, and numismatists have speculated that this combination of errors, proof reverse die used for a business strike, double die obverse, dramatic die clash, partial collar strike, and an overweight planchet, has never been recorded in conjunction on any other known U.S. coin from the modern era, making this a truly one-of-a-kind specimen. And when it was first discovered in a collection of rolled coins by a teenage hobbyist in Oklahoma, no one believed its authenticity at first, and it took months of back and forth between grading services, metallurgists, and die variety experts to piece together the full story and verify that this coin was not only real but unprecedented in its combination of features, and once authenticated and certified by both PCGS and NGC with multiple error designations and a high grade of MS-67 red. It was sent to public auction where it drew fierce competition from private collectors, hedge funds investing in tangible assets, and even museums seeking to secure a one-of-a-kind display item, and the bidding frenzy pushed the price past all expectations, with the final hammer falling at $2.2 million, making it one of the most valuable Lincoln cents ever sold and forever cementing its place in numismatic history. And the story doesn't end there, because the discovery of this coin reignited interest in early 1990s Lincoln cents, prompting collectors across the country to revisit their boxes, jars, and rolls of coins in search of overlooked rarities, leading to the identification of a few more 1992 D close AM cents, but none approaching the condition or combination of errors seen in the multi-million-dollar example. And what makes this tale so compelling is that this coin could have easily gone unnoticed, spent and respent for decades, used for gum, tolls, or thrown into fountains, lost forever to the flow of daily commerce, and yet it survived, preserved by chance and curiosity, and found by someone who took the time to look a little closer, proving that even in an age of digital everything, treasures still exist in the analog world of pocket change. And the moral of this story is clear: never underestimate the power of observation and the value of knowledge, because hidden within the ordinary lies the extraordinary, and the 1992 D 1-cent piece that achieved a price tag of $2.2 million is the ultimate embodiment of that truth. A simple coin transformed by error, rarity, and the relentless pursuit of detail into an icon of modern numismatics, a prize that continues to inspire collectors worldwide to keep hunting, keep checking, and never stop believing that the next great discovery might just be sitting at the bottom of a coin jar, waiting for the right pair of eyes to unlock its story and unleash its unimaginable worth.